Welcome to Peko Virtual School. My name is Stephen Kasia, the history teacher. Yes. This is topic 2 regarding the origin of man. Before we proceed with the topic 2, in the previous topic, we are still looking at the sources of history, where we looked at the historical sites. And under historical sites, you remember we saw a series of different historical sites that are found in Uganda. Among those we talked about, they included Nyero rock painting, Kasubi tombs, Bigo bya Mugenyi, the Uganda Martyrs Shrine, the source of the Nile, among others. So that was that. So today we are looking at the origin of man as our topic 2, okay, and lesson 1. Under this, as we are trying to trace for the origin of man, how man came into existence, we are going to rely on the different traditional beliefs that are available regarding the origin of man. Okay? And by the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the meaning of traditional beliefs, understand the Chintu and the Nambi legend, know the story of Kanga and creation, and then 4, should understand the story of Chintu and his 3 sons. Okay. The materials you will need in this lesson, they include the following. You will need some textbooks for reference. You will need a pen for noting down. You will need a notebook. Okay? You will need a computer stroke phone with the internet access where possible. Then you'll need the Atlas of East Africa. Instructions. Use Senior 1 History Learner's textbook. Then you can make reference to other related books. If possible, consult an adult and research the internet while doing the activity. That is that. Now let us go to the introductory part of it regarding the origin of man. And as we said, we are going to trace the origin of man basing on the available traditional beliefs in East Africa. Okay? There are many African oral traditional beliefs on the origin of man. The oral traditions were messages that were transmitted orally from one generation to another. They were transmitted orally, meaning using the mouth. You transmit the message from one person to another using the mouth, from one generation to another using the mouth. And that was through folk tales. Okay? It was through folk tales. Okay? And the fables. What are folk tales? What is a folk? Okay. When we talk about a folk, it is not about a traditional story that was developed by people in a particular region. That is the meaning of the word folk tales. So they were the stories that were developed by people of long ago in a particular region. Okay. And then fables. Okay. When we talk about fables, we are meaning traditional stories, usually about animals that teaches a moral lesson. Heroic stories that were made by heroes, and the narrations. Okay. Proverbs or sayings and songs. Different ethnic groups in East Africa have their own different on the origin of their ancestry that has been passed on through generations. The tradition of these ethnic groups have shaped the culture of the people within those groups. The culture, the way those people are living in those groups or societies. Okay. Let us go to the first traditional belief of the Baganda regent. Okay? Of the Baganda regent. When you talk about a regent is an old story about famous people and events in the past. And what you need to know about regents are not usually true. Okay? So when you talk about regents, for this case, we are not going to take them as the gospel truth. Okay? As the gospel truth, because they were stories that were told long ago and none of us was there. Okay? But for them, they used those regents to try to find out how man came into existence. So here you are requested to read the text below and answer the questions that follow. Okay? Chintu and Nambi. We are going to read the story of Chintu and Nambi. We are going to go through it together. Then thereafter, you will answer the questions that follow. Theory. In the distant past, Chintu was the only person on earth living alone with his cow. Guru, the creator of all things, lived up in heaven with his many children who occasionally came down to earth to play. Okay? On one such occasion, Guru's daughter Nambi and some of her brothers encountered Chintu and his cow in Buganda. Nambi instantly took a liking to Chintu and decided to stay and marry him. Her brothers pleaded with her, eventually convincing her to return to heaven with Chintu to ask for her father's permission for marriage, because Nambi had fallen in love with Chintu. So she could not go ahead and form a marriage and form a partnership with Chintu without getting the permission of the father. Okay? So she had to go to heaven with Chintu and seek for permission from the From the father. Guru was not pleased, and he only blessed the marriage after Nambi had pleaded so much. Guru advised Chintu and Nambi to leave heaven secretly, so that Walumbe, one of Nambi's brothers, would not find out about the marriage. It was feared that Walumbe, which means, in quotes, the cause of sickness and death, would insist on going with them and bring them misery. Chintu and Nambi set out for Earth the next morning, taking with them a few things that Nambi packed and a chicken. While they were descending, that is leaving heaven, going to Earth, Nambi remembered that she had forgotten to bring the millet that her chicken would feed on. Okay? Let us see what happened. Chintu pleaded, persuaded her, convinced her that please don't return to fetch the millet. But Nambi left him and returned to fetch the millet. On the way back from fetching the millet, she met Walumbe. Remember, Walumbe was her brother. She did not tell him where she was going, but filled with curiosity, Walumbe insisted on going with her. Chintu and Nambi were therefore forced to go to Earth together with Walumbe. The one they didn't want to follow them. Walumbe's presence on Earth caused the suffering and the conflicts that, according to the regents, is how sickness and death started. The area where Walumbe is traditionally thought to have fallen to Earth and to have hidden from Guru is Tanda Pits, west of Kampala, on the south side of the road to the town of Mityana. Let us take note. The story above is a myth. What is a myth? A myth is a story that is not true. Okay? A myth is a traditional anonymous story. You know, something that is anonymous, not known. Originally religious in nature, told by a particular cultural group in order to explain a natural or historical event. Okay? Now, after looking at that Baganda regent as a traditional belief, let us now move to another traditional belief, which is African Bushmen and the creation of myth. In a bracket, we have Kanga story. Kanga, as in K-A-A-N-G. People did not always live on the surface of the earth. That is what the story of the Bushmen is telling us, that people were not always living on the surface of the what? The earth. At one time, people and the animals lived underneath the earth with the Kanga, the creator, the great master, and Lord of all life. So Kanga was taken to be their God, their creator, the creator of the world, the giver of life, the giver of each and everything they needed in life. So they lived underneath, below the surface with the Kanga. In this place, people and animals lived together peacefully. Down there, they were living peacefully, with the animals not fighting man, with man not fighting animals. They understood each other. No one ever wanted for anything, and it was always light, even though there wasn't any sun. Okay, the sun was not there, but all day they were having light. During this time of bliss, okay, during this time of bliss, when you talk about bliss, what do we mean? Bliss means complete happiness. Okay, during that time of complete happiness, when the animals and the man were living together, Kanga, their creator, began to plan the wonders he would put in the world above. First, Kanga created a wondrous tree. Kanga created a wondrous tree. When you talk about a wondrous tree, it is the word wondrous. It is all about being impressive, beautiful, and something that is exciting. Okay, so for this case, we are meaning that Kanga created an impressive tree, a tree which was beautiful, and a tree which was exciting. Okay, with branches stretching over the entire country. Can you imagine a tree with branches stretching all over the country? At the base of the tree, he dug a hole that reached all the way down into the world where the people and the animals lived. After he had finished furnishing, that is innovating, okay, furnishing the world as he pleased, he led the first man up the hole. He sat down on the edge of the hole, and soon the first woman came up out of it. Soon all the people were gathered at the foot of the tree. At the foot of the tree, what are we meaning? Below that big tree, under the big tree, all the people were gathered there. Okay, out by the world, they had just entered. Out by the world, A-W-E-D, out. What is to out? What is the meaning of that? It is all about feeling great respect, admiration, and sometimes fear for something. So when all the people gathered there, they were admiring what their Lord, what their God, their Creator Kanga had put in place. What had he put in place? The wondrous tree we are talking about. Okay. Next, Kanga began helping the animals climb out of the hole. Okay. In their eagerness, some of the animals found a way to climb up through the roots of the tree and come out of the branches. They continued racing out of the world beneath until all the animals were out. Kanga gathered all the people and the animals around him. He instructed them to live together peacefully Then he turned to men and women and warned them not to build any fires. Not to build any fires. Building fires, it is not about setting up walls. It was all about making fire. Okay? Or else a great evil would befall them. They gave their word, and Kanga left to where he could watch his world secretly. As evening approached, the sun began to sink beneath the horizon. The people and the animals stood watching this phenomenon, what Kanga had put in place. But when the sun disappeared, fear entered the hearts of the people. They could no longer see each other, as they lacked the eyes of the animals, which were capable of seeing in the dark. So people could not see in the darkness, but some animals could see. So what happened here? It means that people now had to go against the rule that had been set up by Kanga of not lighting what? Fire, of not building fire. The people, the men and women, lacked the warm fur of the animals, and also soon grew cold. They lacked the warm fur. When you talk about fur, F-U-R, it is all about the, like, that woolen material the animals do have on their bodies. For example, the sheep. The sheep has the fur, and therefore that fur protects it from the coldness. It does not feel the coldness. So people were not having it, and that is why they were feeling the coldness. In desperation, one man suggested that they should build a fire to keep warm, forgetting Kanga's warning of not building the fire. Okay? They disobeyed him. They soon grew warm and were once again able to see each other. That was after lighting the fire. However, the fire frightened the animals, and therefore the animals fled to the caves and mountains. And ever since the people broke Kanga's command, people have not been able to communicate with the animals. Now fear has replaced the seat of friendship once held between the two groups, that is animals and man. Okay? Comments. The Bushmen of Africa believe that not only plants and animals are alive, but also rain, thunder, the wind, the spring, etc. Okay? That's all those other things we have mentioned. For example, the rain, the thunder, the wind, the spring, and others are also considered as living things. Okay. They claim that what we see is only the outside form of body. inside is a living spirit that we cannot see. These spirits can fly out of one's body into another. For example, a woman's spirit might sometime fly into a leopard, or a man's spirit fly into a lion's body. Okay, in bracket, fuzz and spoil 6. This may be part of the reason that animals play such an important role in their myth. Lesson summary, as we are summarizing what we have talked about Ukanga and the Baganda legend. Traditional beliefs are in form of myth. Are in form of what? Myth. That makes East Africans know their kinship linkages or linkage that disagrees with other theories of what? Creation. We have said that it makes Africans know their kinship linkage. When we talk about kinship, it is all about a strong feeling of being connected with another person or group of people. Okay? For example, when you read, they tell you that the Russians have a strong kinship with the Slavs, okay, with the Serbs, because they look at them as their brothers and sisters. The Baganda have a strong kinship with the Basoga, with the Banyankole, with the Bachiga, with many other Bantu groups, because we are one, because we are all Bantu. Okay, so that is what we are trying to mean there. Good examples are the Chintu legend and the Baganda of Ukanga, Nduhura, and Nyinamwiru of Chintu and his 3 sons. I thank you for listening. Please continue reading about other sources of history and the origin of man. Okay? As we said earlier, make research and find out more. If we have brought this, can you go on the internet using your phone or laptop and find out more what these stories are telling us? We said consult the adults. Can you sit with your elder in the community, in the family, and you discuss this? Okay? The history we are studying, my dear students, in the new curriculum is all about you getting involved in what you are doing. The teacher, unlike before, is not considered as the source of knowledge, but you, a student, you are also a source of what? Knowledge. How are you going to get that knowledge? By reading more, by going on the ground to do research from the people we tell you to consult. Thank you for listening. I remain Mr. Kasidie Stephen, your history teacher.